Mr. 313 Real Estate again. This is part 2 of the mentorship subject. And this part, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to go into knowing the right mentor for you and also what it takes to make it all happen, for it to be a successful experience for both the person that's mentoring you and also for yourself, and what that's going to all entail. Okay. So number one is just about your ego. You have to check your ego at the door. Okay. So whatever you think you may know, whatever, how great you may already are, whatever it is you're trying to do, it's just time to put all that to the side. Okay. Because the whole purpose of mentorship, like I said in the first video, is about weaknesses. It's about being truthful with who you are. Okay. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's necessary. Looking at your weaknesses, looking at what you're not good at, and just really being honest about that. It may be personality, it may be work ethic, it could be a number of things, but those are the things that you want to be communicating with your mentor about, because obviously they're going to see it as well. Okay, so there's no point in just trying to like bypass it, like, you know, I don't need it. You need to be fully operational. You need to be sharp on all corners. So there's no point in just being dishonest with yourself and what you need to work on. Okay. So that's the one thing. You know, the ego can be a very dangerous thing. I mean, obviously your ego can help you in situations. Like your ego can help you be bold and to take on new ventures, because it's like all the ego is just a false sense of who you are. You know, so if you might think I'm going to be this great real estate mogul and you're not there yet, you might take action steps to actually do that. So your ego is going to help you get the confidence to actually put yourself out there to do certain things. Okay, but what you don't need your ego for is when the learning and the mentorship phase comes in, because you need to be accepted. You need to be coachable. You need to be malleable. So you need to be able to accept the truths that they're telling you, so you can improve yourself. You can improve your craft. The second part to that in mentorship is typically you might just meet your mentor like by osmosis, maybe at some type of business seminar, or you're in the same circles and it just kind of happens. I think that's the best way for it to be. But if you're particularly seeking out someone, the one thing you really want to do is you want to get as much information on that person as possible. Right? And I'm not saying like finding out where they live and all this other crazy stuff. I'm just finding out, like, you know, what are they into? Like, what are their core principles? And maybe following them on social media, maybe starting to get in tune as to what their trends are and what direction that they're going in and what type of lifestyle that they're living. And maybe you start studying their content and learning how they got to this point and what are some of the obstacles that they had to go through to get to that point. And when you start learning these things, you start embracing it. Now it's like you have a connection, and maybe some things that you have in common, maybe some similar things that you're going through that they went through, or maybe some things that you haven't went through that they have. So it's kind of like you're kind of like doing your research and your homework on this person. And now you have a better understanding of where they're coming from and, you know, where they're headed and where they're at in this present moment. And that's very important, because typically the mentor that you pick in, you're adopting their lifestyle that they're currently living. Okay, so if they're in a 6-7 figure income, let's say they have $1 million business, you know, they have a 20%, you know, gross net of their business, you know, so that means they're doing pretty well. Let's say if they're making $5 million a year and they're bringing in, they're netting 20% of that. That means that they're doing pretty well. I mean, they're trending in the right direction. So that means if that's your goals, then that's the right mentor for you at that time, because you kind of want that same energy, you want that same type of lifestyle and flow that they have. Okay, so it's very important to know where they're at, because you can't just look at the finish line and look at the finished product of who they are at that moment. You have to kind of reverse engineer and see what are some of the habits, what are some of the things that they're doing, that they're currently doing to get at this point and to maintain it. how they built their team, how they built their business, and so on and so forth, right? So you have to understand these things because these are the very things that you're going to have to do. And it's more of a challenge if you're not already doing them. So that brings me to the third point is work ethic. Having a great work ethic, hustle, whatever you want to call it, is very important, coupled with the humility and having the information about your mentor. Because when you have the proper work ethic, it's something that can't be taught. You can't teach hard work. There is no hard work seminar. There's no hard work workshop. There's no hard work book. Either you're doing it or you're not. Either you're intentional or you're not. Either you're an executor or you're not. So even if you're doing it, even if you're messing up and you're not good at it, at least you're taking action. Okay, and so that helps the person that's mentoring them because now with most successful mentors, they don't have a lot of time. They don't have, 6-7 months to just train you day in and day out and teach you all the X's and O's and nuts and bolts. Typically they may have like maybe 10, 15 minutes a week, to go over something with you. So that means you have to be doing your part in the intro. You have to already be doing all the hard work. So let's just take wholesaling, for instance. Okay, you can't just say, hey, here I am. I'm ready to learn. I want to be a wholesaler. I don't really know what to do. I don't know nothing about it, but hey, put me on. Get me to that 6-7 figure income. And that's just not realistic. So that's what I want this content to be about. Realistic ideas, things that can actually happen, okay? And what can actually happen is that you'll get 15 minutes of their time. That's very possible. And don't downplay that 15 minutes. Don't poo-poo the 15 minutes. A lot can happen in 15 minutes. A lot can be taught. A lot can be gathered in 15 minutes. And maybe even sometimes you can ask them if it's a phone conversation, hey, do you mind if I have your permission to record this phone call so I can kind of go back, and take notes and really dissect what was said. And because a lot of times if you're having a phone conversation and somebody says something to you, if you heard it, you're not going to just keep, unless you're just an expert at that, you're not going to retain all that information. So whatever it is you need to take information, recording a phone call, but you have to let them know that you're doing that, or maybe just taking notes. That's where you get all the information that you need to go back and to kind of look back at what was said, and you kind of see what errors you were done and the mistakes you made. So that 15 minutes is very important. Just keep in mind, like in sports, 5 minutes is very important. 5 seconds is a lot of time in sports. A lot can happen in 10 to 15 seconds in a basketball game. The score can change 3 times in 15 seconds. So don't think just because they only have 10, 15 minutes of time that's not valuable, because it's very valuable. And you have to understand that they're at a different point than you are. Maybe they have like 15, 20 employees. Maybe they have like 6 business meetings that day. Maybe they're taking a flight out to New York or LA in like another hour. And they got to pick their kid up from school before they go out of town. And then they got to check with their wife about, some dance recital is going to happen next Tuesday with their daughter. And then they got to worry about this. So it's like 10 million things that can be going on besides you. So that's where the humility comes in. Already have the work ethic. So if you're wholesaling, already be putting out bandit signs, already be making cold calls, already be networking, already be getting your buyers list, already be taking in the information, knowing about contracts, knowing about AVR, knowing about purchase price. So when you have all this information and you're putting it into action, even though you're making mistakes, the mentor can come in and kind of help with the last 30, 40% to get you at that 95, 96% level. So if you're at 60 at wholesaling, they can jump you up 30 points, okay? But if you're at 0 and they just get you to 30, well, you're just a 30, if that makes sense. So a mentor can't make you a millionaire. You have to make yourself a millionaire, or whatever financial goal you have. They're just kind of like adding on, they're that last dash of spice and last dash of flavor that kind of makes it great. Okay, so the key is you have to already be average or above average before you even get the mentor, so then they can make you great or good at what you're doing. It's not about this whole ground zero thing. Okay, the ground zero situation can happen, but in most typical cases, that's for young people. That's for a guy that's getting right out of high school or right out of college, and he can freelance for a year. So if I'm a photographer or I'm a videographer, I can follow somebody around, which is a very great living. I mean, some people making 6, 7 figures off this, and document somebody's life and whatever they want documented for a whole year, maybe at a small fee, at a small scale, and you just learn kind of on the run. You just kind of get grandfathered in, and as an intern, you just kind of like work and hustle your way all the way up, and you just get put on. Okay, but most of us, we're already established. We may have families, we may have jobs. We can't do that. Okay, we can't just put everything to the side and just say, hey, I'm just going to work for you for free for a year to learn everything. So with that being the case, you have to already be in the game somewhat. You have to already be somewhat working out and working on your craft for this to be effective. So remember that it's about the ego, being coachable, having a great attitude, understanding that you do need help, and being truthful with yourself about your weaknesses. It's about knowing about your mentor. The more you know about your mentor, the more help you can be of them to helping you, and you get to learn more about their lifestyle to see if they are the right mentor of you. If that's the trajectory that you actually want to go to, because you're going to be basically taking on their lifestyle in a sense. And the third thing, and the most important thing, is work ethic. Already have the right mindset and work ethic. So all they have to do is just fine tune you. Okay. That's the most important dynamic of the whole thing. So I hope this was a great benefit to you. I hope you appreciate the content and the things I have to say. And make sure you drop a comment on it. Let me know what your feedback is. This actual podcast is brought to you by Hyperion Capital. We're the vision, we're the light for all your financial needs for your business. We do merchant cash advances, equipment loans. If you need those printing press equipment to get that t-shirt business going, if you need that tractor trailer for your trucking business, if you need equipment for your nail or your hair salon, we're there for you, okay? And with equipment loans, it's 4 or 5 hour responses on that. And we're going to put you in the right situation, whether it's lines of credit, unsecured, secured. We're going to put you in the right situation for your business so you can succeed. So make sure you hit up the website, HyperionCapital.net, or you can email us at contact@HyperionCapital.net. Hope you enjoyed the content and the podcast. Don't forget to leave your comments below.